I would say technology. So usually technology is, for some people, it's something that a kind of word that is you cannot reach. Like some people think that they need to be an engineer, that they need to actually have spent years to study to be able to achieve that. Technology is more and more accessible, and it should require more exposure in school and so on.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Engatica interview series. I'm your host, Kimberly, and we're really excited to have you join us today. We have with us a very special guest today. We have Julie Barbier-Lebalan, the Chief Executive Officer at Merit Incentives and Forbes top 20 women behind Middle Eastern tech brands on the show. Welcome to the show, Julie. We're so glad to have you join us.
Thank you so much for having me. Really a pleasure to be there.
It is amazing to have you, and I'm sure we're going to have an amazing conversation. But before we dive into our crazy conversation with Julie, let me tell you something about Engatica. The Engatica interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts from around the world, a platform that provides latest news on AI, automation, and technologies that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community where we learn, share, and grow. So diving into our first interview, Julie, how can businesses really unlearn and transform their media models to suit the current business climate?
I think what is very interesting since I started my career is that unlearning was not really what was promoted first. When I started my career, or when I was studying at university, usually people put a very big emphasis on education. Learning, acquiring new skills and knowledge, or becoming an expert of what you are doing. So unlearning is not really in our genes, I would say, or in our education, because most of the time you have to learn a lot and make sure that you are becoming an expert of your field. Now, with the new age, I don't think any CEO or leaders is able to say that whatever he has learned at university or at the beginning of their career still apply. The speed of business and the speed of change has increased dramatically. And COVID really pushed us to go to the next level, because we had from one day to another to completely adapt.
Correct.
So unlearning skills and the way we were used to do something that was successful, so it's not natural. And actually, it's one of the most difficult things, especially for top achievers or high achievers, people that are used to be constantly pushed to the top. I was reading a note, a quote actually from John Maynard Keynes that says that the difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping the old ones. And I think it's very true, because unlearn is not an easy process. It means that you will take complete responsibility and take the full ownership of a decision, or the way you're going to conduct a restructuring, for example, or the way you're going to change the direction of a company. Because if you don't adapt, and you can see now all the top companies, if they don't adapt, they would have to realize that the previous business model didn't work. If they don't adapt, they will die. So I always say that entrepreneurship is like a marathon. Even when you think it's almost done, you have to find another breath and another resource or courage to go to the next phase. And this is what's really important. If you can unlearn, and then you will be able to adapt to the new media, to the new business model, to the new way of consumers are looking for services, for example, or technology. It's not an easy process. Yes, it requires a complete transformation and letting go and accepting you can make mistakes and go to the next level. But yes, it's essential.
Right. I completely agree when you say that, because of the pandemic, we really had forced digital transformation, especially that came into businesses. And we had a lot of fresh perspective coming in onto the table in terms of how strategies should be formed and how it should be, conducted. So yes, unlearning something, just keeping aside what you know and just opening up a mind to a fresh new perspective is also very important to make sure you're adapting to newer technologies that come in. Thank you so much for your insights, Julie. Hopping on to our next question, how can we develop and execute a group-wide customer loyalty improvement program that promotes business growth while also strengthening the relationships between customers and businesses?
So that's interesting because at Merit, we came into the loyalty or into engagement in general a little bit by accident. We originally had a company that was doing B2C gifting digitally. So it was one of the first in the Middle East. And we saw a demand coming from businesses asking to engage with their customer, reward them, their employees, in the region, and then they told us why only the region globally would make more sense because we have customers and employees all over the world. So this part it's a challenge that usually companies or businesses, small or big, have. It's how do you engage and how do you create loyalty with your existing customer database but also with your employees. So I would say a few things that you need to keep in mind and that we are very focused on at Merit is like, be transparent and consistent in the message you are providing in your customer loyalty program, for example. It's extremely important for your customers to understand very clearly what is the value proposition and what you are offering them. Making it too complicated or too sophisticated because you want to stand out doesn't always make sense because, of course, people will be curious and come, but then on a daily basis, on a daily engagement, it's going to be difficult to keep people engaged if it's too complicated. The second thing I would say, it's usually what people forget is you really need to identify and reward your brand ambassador. So a brand ambassador is not always someone that is, I would say, a transactional customer. It can be someone that actually provide business, that actually give good reviews, that refer friends and families to your company. So it's really extremely important to know very well your customer audience, because then we can develop and implement any technology that will make it very scalable and address them. Finally, I think the last advice would be to align your employee and customer strategies. If you develop an amazing loyalty program for your customers, but actually your employees are not engaged, they don't know about it, they don't know how it works, they're not motivated to make promotion of this loyalty program, it's going to be very complicated to implement it. And you will feel, maybe your customers will feel that it's not really true what you are promoting. It's just a trap or something that you are doing in terms of marketing and PR. So I would say stay close to your values, make sure that everyone is engaged would be quite key, I think, in the success.
Yes, definitely. Those were some really, really good advice. And I really like the point where you said that, making sure that your employee and customer, strategies and things are always aligned, because you cannot have that kind of gap if you are kind of expecting your customer to be loyal as well. So thank you so much for your insights here. I mean, now when I introduced you for the interview, we know that you've been one of the women behind Middle Eastern Tech Plan. So what did it really take for you? Could you share some experience, some use cases, anything that you'd like to share with us?
I think it was, originally, I'm a finance lawyer, so I'm not really in the field of technology. I've always been extremely passionate about new technology, and I was always very curious, I think, to see what's new, what's out in the market, how new technology works. I want to understand what's behind the scene. I was a type of child when I was young that would take the TV and just dismantle it just to know how it's made inside. So I think it really give a possibility to actually understand and learn. So once you have understood how technology works, it gives you so much power. Like everything is possible, because something, if you see a gap in the market, if you see a possibility, if you see some things that would work better using technology, then everything is very scalable. So I think this is what made it so exciting, like to turn to technology and then make sure that it's entirely focused on the customer needs. So being a female founder, I didn't really have access to funding at the beginning. Not saying that it's an excuse, but we all know that 2% of the women in the world are getting fundraising at, for example, a Series A level. In our region, I think last month it was 0.01%, something completely crazy. So I think what the lack of resource made us think outside the box and come and try to, anytime when we grow the technology, was to go through MVP. So we were finding a client, the client explained his needs, what are the concerns, what doesn't work well, or what are the objectives that they have. And we would provide the technology and adapting what we had for their needs. And this helped us grow technologies that actually answer customer needs. It's not about a white paper and building the best thing ever at the beginning, or what you have in your mind. It's really listening to the customers. And this is what made us very successful, because once one customer needed it, then potentially you have many other customers that need it. But what was really pivotal, I would say, is once we got our Series A rounds, and I knew Trish, our CTO, for many years, and I was able to convince him to come on board as my co-founder. So it was a great, I would say, a great decision to say, okay, I'm not the only one now in the company anymore, and I need to go to the next level. The company needs to have someone extremely strong and grounded in technology. So his experience with very scalable startups and unicorns and so on made a huge difference. We can see now that we are completely pivoting from being, I would say, a service company using technology or providing some technology to a full technology player. And this required a massive transformation. Like it's been only a year since Series A, and I can tell you we've been through a lot of really important decisions and a change of mindset and so on. And the most difficult part was people transformation. Right. It's not an easy job to go and explain to people that, okay, you were performing very well, but from now on you need to unlearn and you need to go to the next phase.
Right, sure.
So I think, yeah, listening to the customer and resilience were two key factors of success, I would say.
This was a terrific journey, and all the very best for your future. I have just been very curious. So there was this topic that was going on with our other experts as well. So they say that, technology should not be accessible to everyone, but then on the other end, there are people and experts who agree that it should be accessible. So I just want to know, what is your opinion here? I mean, keeping in mind the cyber threats that are coming in and the other, the flip side of everything. So what is your opinion about this?
Actually, we ask ourselves a question as well. We started B2C. So open to everyone, giving access to everything. And we realized actually that businesses, company, governments had a need in terms of B2B perspective, that they wanted to grow their business. They needed technology that could support their objective. And but in a local way. So some of the things we did, like customer loyalty, employee engagement, rewards and incentive, are extremely mature in the US, for example, or in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting to move into this field and localize it in the Middle East, but actually innovate as well. So one of the things, we started our success with enterprise clients, massive program, which is usually the most difficult part to do, but we managed to convince them that due to the agility, due to the fact that we were extremely innovative as a startup and so on, that we were able to go and help them, and we were successful. Now we are going into a new phase where my vision was to support entrepreneurs like me. For example, at the beginning of my career, I built my companies using SaaS technologies that were based on a monthly subscription basis and scaled with our business. Mm-hmm. So the vision and the dream was really to give engagement technology, rewards, incentive, and so on at a global level, affordable to any business in the world. And this is what we have done. We have launched two platforms, one called rewardsbuy.com and the other one called giftcardsbuy.com. And both of them are based on the model of highly accessible because of the pricing aspect and the fact that it's a do-it-yourself platform. So it's self-onboarding, self-serving. And this is what I was saying about the transformation before. Pivoting from an enterprise solution to a self-serving was not an easy journey. And we are just starting. We are still in the process of, I would say, the lean process where we are understanding the customer, adding new features, transforming the way people are accessing to it. And it's extremely exciting. So I understand the idea of a privileged club and it works in certain type of technology, especially maybe in beta or to have relevant information. But as well, it gives you the possibility to successful entrepreneurs or really talented individuals to go to the next level. Right. So it's on a mission as well. If you believe in it and you think you have a mission in that world, even at your small level, I'm not saying that we are really solving the humanity issue or whatever, but it's important to create an impact and to feel that you are actually helpful to a couple of people and the network.
Yes, thank you so much, Julie, for your insight. This was an amazing interview and an amazing conversation we had. Are there any other sound bites you'd like to leave our audience with?
I think it's, I would say technology. So usually technology is, for some people, it's something that, a kind of word that is you cannot reach, like some people think that they need to be an engineer, that they need to actually have spent years to study to be able to achieve that. Technology is more and more accessible, and it should require more exposure in school and so on, in terms of you don't need to decide. You can decide to be an artist and use technology later on. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that you are a technology person and then that's it, your career is done, or you have chosen, I don't know, music or whatever, and then you are done. Now it's really accessible, and I think anyone should try. If they have an amazing idea or anything, try their luck, because it's possible, and it needs to be more taught, especially to women, to girls. It's very important to say that anyone can do it. So
yes, thank you so much, Julie. It was indeed an honor talking to you, and we've had an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for your valuable insights.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon so you get access to exclusive content coming from thought leaders from around the world. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you with a new expert soon. Thank you.